black ichor of the abyss, a viscous, lightless sea, clung to the Jupiter rig like a shroud. I am a saturation diver, a soul hardened by the crushing depths, knew the solitude of 1,000 feet, a silence deeper than any tomb. 8 years I'd offered to the metal womb, the pressurized haven beneath the flatbed, where the very air was a manufactured lie, a fragile bubble against the crushing Leviathan. They called it decompression, a slow, agonizing crawl back to the surface, a penance for daring to trespass in the kingdom of the deep. 5 hours, they said, for a mere hour at 250 feet, lest the blood boil, the bones ache, and the mind dissolve into a screaming, gasping madness. Decompression sickness, the diver's curse, a reminder that we were but fragile intruders in a realm that did not welcome us. I had laughed at tales whispered in the mess, tales of things that lurked in the black, things that defied the cold, rational logic of steel and pressure gauges. But the Jupiter, relocated to a new, unsettling expanse of the ocean, changed me. It changed us all. The move was a monstrous undertaking, a forced migration that stretched the crew's sanity like rusted chains. The tension, thick as the oil we sought, festered in the cramped quarters. Fights erupted, men were sent home, their minds frayed by the endless sea and the oppressive weight of the work. Harvey, our boss, a man of iron and weathered resolve, held the rig together, a lighthouse in a storm of madness. Then came the time for the work to begin, the descent into the metal tube, my home, my tomb. John, my partner, a man haunted by a world he could not escape, and I, were to be the rig's hands in the deep, connecting pipelines, ensuring the flow of black gold. The pressurized system, a mockery of life, infused our bodies with the gases that allowed us to linger in the abyss. We were valuable, they said, assets in a realm where life held little value. John, unlike me, chafed at the isolation. He yearned for the surface, for the touch of sunlight, for the fleeting embrace of a world he could not comprehend. However, found solace in the silence, a communion with the ancient, unknowable depths. The first weeks were uneventful, a monotonous rhythm of work and waiting. The seabed, usually teeming with the grotesque wonders of the deep, was strangely barren, an unsettling emptiness that should have set my instincts ablaze. John, however, was consumed by his own demons, his mind a swirling vortex of lost love and misplaced anxieties. Then the change. It began with John, a subtle shift in his demeanor, a pallor that clung to his skin like a death shroud. He spoke in a strained, distorted voice, a grotesque parody of his usual drawl. He saw things, he said, things that lurked in the shadows, things that defied the logic of the known world. The medical crew, their faces grim, deemed him unfit, a vessel tainted by some unseen contagion. They sealed him in a solitary decompression chamber, a slow, agonizing descent into sanity, or perhaps a descent into something far worse. I was left alone, a solitary sentinel in the abyss. The next day, as I descended to the seabed, the emptiness pressed in on me, a suffocating silence that whispered of ancient, unseen horrors. The lights, normally a comforting beacon in the black, seemed to flicker and dim, casting grotesque shadows that danced and writhed in the periphery of my vision. The work, usually a familiar rhythm, became a torment, a struggle against the oppressive silence and the unseen eyes that seemed to watch from the shadows. I felt a presence, a lurking dread that clung to me like the cold, black water. As I ascended, the darkness stirred. A movement, a shadow, a presence that brushed against me, a touch that sent a chill through my soul, a touch that felt like the cold, slick skin of some ancient, unknowable thing. I turned, my light cutting through the black, and saw it, a creature of the deep, a grotesque parody of life, a stingray-like form with elongated, human-like arms and long, trailing tendrils of hair. Its eyes, enormous and almond-shaped, burned with an ancient, malevolent intelligence. Its mouth, a circular maw filled with razor-sharp teeth, gaped open in a silent scream. Scales, slick and black, scraped against my suit. Terror, cold and sharp, pierced my heart. I kicked away, desperate to escape, but the darkness was alive, a writhing mass of tentacles that coiled around me, dragging me down into the abyss. The tentacles, covered in tiny, puncturing spikes, held me fast, a prisoner in the kingdom of the deep. The creature dragged me to the worksite, a grotesque tableau of steel and shadows. It held me aloft, a sacrifice to some unseen god, as a chorus of its kind. Stingray-like creatures with human-like limbs gathered around, their eyes burning with a cold, ancient light. Then, from the depths, it emerged. A colossal form, a leviathan of the abyss, a creature of nightmare made flesh. Its head, large as a vehicle, was adorned with long, willowy whiskers that fluttered in the water. Its mouth, a gaping maw filled with rows of razor-sharp teeth, was framed by a leonine ruff. Its body, long and serpentine, undulated through the water, a living shadow. Below its head, a double set of tentacles writhed, reaching out, snatching one of the stingray-like creatures and drawing it into a gaping maw that opened in its belly. The creature holding me released its grip, its tentacles recoiling in fear. I floated upward, unnoticed, a ghost in the presence of gods. The ascent line, my lifeline, was within reach, and I pulled myself upward, desperate to escape the horror that lurked below. Back in the metal tube, I was a broken man, my mind haunted by the things I had seen. The medical crew, their faces etched with disbelief, dismissed my ramblings as the ravings of a mind broken by the depths. They spoke of madness, of isolation, of the crushing pressure of the abyss. John, when I finally spoke to him, confirmed my fears. He had seen them too, the creatures of the deep, the things that lurked in the shadows, the things that defied the logic of the known world. The company, their faces grim, sent a crew of 6 to complete the work. 2 weeks later, they were gone, swallowed by the abyss, leaving only one survivor, a man driven mad by the things he had seen. The government, their eyes cold and hard, silenced us, warning us of the consequences of speaking of the things we had seen. They spoke of madness, of high-security asylums, of lives lost in the pursuit of knowledge. And so, I remained silent, a prisoner in a world that refuses to believe. But I know the truth that lurks in the black ichor of the abyss, the truth that whispers in the silence of the deep. And I know that one day, the creatures of the deep will rise, and the world will tremble before their ancient, unknowable power.